So one of my most anticipated films of kind of last year, depending on where you are in the world, or this year, being here in Australia, was Nosferatu. And did it live up to my expectations, my hopes, my dreams? Well, if you saw my short out of theatre reaction video, you would probably know I was a little disappointed. But let's look at it a little deeper. I saw Nosferatu, the new film by Robert Eggers. Now, this is actually the first film I've ever seen of Robert Eggers. Yes, I haven't seen The Witch, The Lighthouse, or The Northman, but I heard so much hype about this man as a director, especially his visual storytelling ability. And of course, I had heard about Nosferatu through last year, and then I saw trailers of it, and I got so excited for Nosferatu. Now, straight up, as I always say, you guys want to know, is this a good film? Well, this is a very tough one for me to review. I'm going to tell you the good points. I'm going to tell you the bad points of the film after I go through the brief story arc. But overall, I'm going to be as honest as possible with this film review, keeping in mind that film is such a subjective thing. And we all go to film mostly for entertainment, but often we do go to films to see films for different reasons. And I have to really put that in my review here. Now, I have noticed pretty much globally there is a lot of butt kissing for Robert Eggers with this film.
How much ass do I have to kiss?
A lot of people loving it, but most of the praise seems to be about the visual quality, not so much the storytelling. So I want to touch on this. So first of all, this is based on Bram Stoker's Dracula novel, and it is a remake of the classic 1922 film, which was an illegal film because it went against the copyright of Bram Stoker's Dracula. So Robert Eggers has really come in here and put his stamp on how he wants Nosferatu to be seen up on the big screen. So the overall story sees Lily Rose Depp as Ellen Hutter, who is married to Thomas Hutter, who is played by Nicholas Hoult. Now, she's this pure angelic type angel of a person, of this young woman. Now, she's like a pure angelic, gorgeous young lady. And what she does one night is she prays for an angel to look over her. But instead of an angel coming to her, the spirit of Nosferatu comes to her and inhabits her. Now, in the meantime, Nosferatu gets very obsessed with Ellen. And this goes to crazy places where she is infested, manifested with dreams, and, well, you would really say nightmares of Nosferatu. And this goes on throughout the film. So, of course, Nosferatu, aka Count Orlik, gets very jealous of the fact that she's got a husband and he wants to come into her life and basically take over her world and have a relationship with her. So that is the basic premise and plot of the film. Now, I'm going to look at the good aspects of this film. Yes, the production design is phenomenal. The cinematography is phenomenal, but the film has a very film noir, black and white look, and it does get a little bit jarring when it literally goes from almost pure black and white with every shred of color taken out, which is used to incredible effects, but then we will transition into scenes where there's more color, a lot of flesh tones, etc., and we see that color. Now, a massive compliment I will give this is the transitions are incredible. This film has probably the best transitions I've ever seen. So, for example, you'll be on a character's at the window, and the camera will push past that character, and you're in another scene, but then, without realizing it, you're literally in two different scenes. So you think you're in the same scene of this character looking out at something, and then suddenly you're in a completely different scene. And this is done all throughout the film. And it's so seamless, and it's very poetic, and on a visual level it's stunning. And I think also that the incredible visual effects helps Robert Eggers realize this vision of these smooth transitions and taking the audience into kind of like a poetic retelling of this story. It's done so well, except, like I said, some of the change of the colors is jarring. Now, what I also noticed in the trailer, when we see what I think is going to become a bit of a classic shot for this film, especially on a visual scale, is you see the horse and cart heading towards Count Orlok's castle. Now, in the trailer, it's in color. It's like at night time, there's blues and blacks, etc., but it's still in color. In the film, it's literally black and white. There's no color in there at all at that stage. Now, some of my favorite scenes here is anytime we see snow. And Robert Eggers' framing is so perfect that then when snow falls around something, whether it be over or around the character, it's got like this angelic but creepy weird quality, and the whiteness of the snow just pops out at you because, you know, we're in a film noir kind of look. So yeah, visually this film is absolutely jaw-dropping, and I would say the cinematographer is probably on his way, as far as the lighting is concerned, to definitely an Oscar nomination. However, of course, this sort of stuff is heavily manipulated in post-production too, where cinematography within Oscar contention should really be look at specific lighting within and around characters and how that develops characters and themes within the film. The production design is wow. The costumes are all fantastic. And also special mention to the makeup effects here. The makeup effects, especially for Count Orlok, are incredible. Now, I don't want to give spoilers. It's a spoiler-free review video, but we see a section at the end where Count Orlok is really kind of getting grotesque and nasty, and the makeup on him is incredible. Now, as for Bill Skarsgård and the performance, Bill Skarsgård plays Count Orlok. I don't like the moustache. I don't like the actual look of Orlok when he's being more human-like. I just didn't like the moustache on him. It was like a big, weird looking moustache. It just didn't make him look scary for me. I wanted a scarier, creepier visual image because his voice was creepy, the movement was creepy, and through the direction of Robert Eggers, the movement he's incredible. Like, he'll be talking to Tom, who's Nicholas Holt's character, and Nicholas Holt will be looking, say, left of frame, and Orlok's over here, and then suddenly Orlok's to the right of frame or behind him. So the movement with Orlok was done really well. And the sound, his voice, everything Bill Skarsgård was doing here was incredible. However, then when we finally get clearer shots of his face, it just didn't have the impact I wanted it to have. And it didn't have like a charming impact like, say, a Bela Lugosi Dracula. And it also didn't have that kind of Max Schreck look of Nosferatu back from the 1922 classic. So, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with that. I know other film reviewers have been as well. Now, my biggest gripe of this film is, yes, we've got visual candy. Yes, we've got a great score, great direction, visuals, a whole lot's there. But to me, the story is boring. There is not much action in the film. Yes, it's a vampire film. Yes, it's a faithful retelling of Bram Stoker's Dracula. However, I just wanted more action. And I think the film is very choppy. For example, Count Orlok's at his castle. He's got these mystic powers, but then he needs to take a boat. Then we go into a story, like a subplot, about a plague. Now, I haven't read Bram Stoker's Dracula, so if all that is very faithful to the novel, fantastic. However, a novel doesn't always make a perfect feature film, and I think the film has pacing issues. It gets to me kind of messy, and within that, it gets kind of boring. But my biggest issue, even though I think the performances across the board are wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Willem Dafoe is being Willem Dafoe, though. He is a little bit outside of this film. He goes so over the top, it does feel like sometimes he's in a different film. Nicholas Hoult is incredible. Performance-wise, he's incredible. But decisions for his character don't make sense. And this is where I get into my biggest gripe of the film. Yes, I understand it's a Dracula film and it needs to be scary, there needs to be scares, etc. But I didn't want to go in and see an Annabelle film or the Exorcism film. And most of the film contains so much stuff about Ellen's character being demonically possessed. And then there's scenes where she's demonically possessed and suddenly her husband, who's creeped out by all this, suddenly wants to, well, have jiggy time with her. And then the fact that this horrific demonic possession is going on right in front of him, and then he wants to have sex with her. I found that really off-putting, and I just found this film so kind of satanic. There was so much satanic imagery in it. And of course, yes, like I said, I'm going to get that with a Dracula film, but I think it went too much into satanic possession and not enough about the character of Orlok and his presence without the demonic stuff in and around them. And that's what I wanted to see, as well as a bit more action. Now, I haven't seen the film The Last Voyage of the Demeter, but I really want to see that after seeing this, and we get teased with boat stuff and Dracula on a boat. In this film, I'd like to see more of that. So that's why I really want to check out The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which came out, I believe, 2 years ago, and unfortunately was a bit of a box office flop. I was planning on going to see that film, and I just didn't get around to it. So, overall, yes, this is a visually stunning film. But are you going to be entertained fully by it when the candy wears off, when the visual stuff wears off? That's going to be up to you guys. Now, if anyone out there ever wants to learn the art and craft of filmmaking, this is your film. On a visual level, on a camera movement level, this is fantastic. Also, with the direction of the actors is really good. Aaron Taylor-Johnson here, I liked him, but I found his character a little bit kind of, his voice would go in and out, didn't really quite work for me. In some scenes, yes, he was really good and natural. And then there were a few scenes where, yeah, like I said, his voice went a little bit in and out. So overall, guys, would I recommend Nosferatu? Well, like I said, this is really going to be a subjective film. So I don't want to sit here and go, don't go and see it, because I love people going to the cinema and supporting it. But if you don't want to see a film that's all about possession, that's choppy, that gets slow, and the payoff really isn't that great, then I don't think Nosferatu is for you. If you love the gothic gore, Satanism, and possession films, and you don't mind a little bit of a slog, but you want to enjoy it with visual candy, then yes, Nosferatu is for you. I'd love to see what Robert Eggers does beyond this. Now, I believe he's going to do a version of Labyrinth, which is the 80s film starring David Bowie. So that will be really interesting. I've never been a big fan of that film. I did see it as a kid, but it will be interesting to see what Robert Eggers does. I prefer this man doesn't go and do a remake. Yes, he's done a remake already now with Nosferatu, but he's obviously got a lot in his mind and his imagination. So I would love to see what he does just from him and what he's got, and I'd like to see original concepts and original films from him. So all up, guys, I am going to score this film a C+. I'm giving it a C+. If I was rating this just on visual, it would be an A+. But I'm giving this a C+, which I think is generous because I just didn't overall enjoy the film as a piece of entertainment. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and please let me know, what did you think of Robert Eggers' Nosferatu? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Do you disagree with me? And what would you like to see Robert Eggers do next time? And until next time, guys, like, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video, and look deeper into film.
I don't say blah blah blah.